Welcome, Ashes-Partyof5. Your table is ready. The first round is on us. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Episode 4 NDA and Progression. This week, we have Zozen from NX as our guest, and of course, my favorite podcast core group, Virtek, Reckless, and DeathsProxy. So we're gonna just basically go over people's ideas of what's happening now that the NDA is lifted, as well as how far we've progressed through the NDA, or not NDA, but the Alpha 1 stress testing and everything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Zozen introduce himself because he's our guest.
Hi, I'm Zozen. I've been gaming for a long time. Probably started back when I was 15, and ever since then, I loved it. When my friend showed me Ashes, I knew this is gonna be the next game that I want to play.
How's it going, everybody? Reckless here. As you all know, Sworder guy, turned Ashes of Creation guy. I love PvP, but I love my questing as well. So I'm really excited because we're progressing and we're getting further along with the testing for Ashes of Creation. So can't wait to see you guys in game.
All right, me, I've played so many MMOs, especially over the years. I'll just stick to the big ones. So started with Ultima Online. Played SOTOR. Those are two of my favorites. WildStar also among the favorites. Those are like the top three of all time that this Ashes has to contend with. So we'll see what it does. It's got some promise. So I'm looking forward to it. My voice here will be to kind of speak up for those who love the PvP and PvE aspects, if I could. And yeah, it'll be fun times.
Hey guys, DeathsProxy here, and I love PvP, and I'm a YouTuber, and that's pretty much it.
And I'm Chibi Bree, and I'm your core host for this podcast. And I've played World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, SOTOR, and a few others. And I'm a PvE main, so I prefer playing anything to do with PvE, questing, dungeons, roleplay through the questing, stuff like that. All right, so the first question, the first part of our topic is NDAs. So before we get into too much here, the NDA has been lifted, and our core podcaster, including myself, are going to be doing an hour stream throughout the week. So we're going to start off on Tuesday with Reckless, Wednesday night with DeathsProxy, Thursday night with Virtek, and myself on Sundays around noon PDT. And this is going to help us to hopefully get towards the affiliate, and that way we can not only be able to give you guys some awesome Party of 5 emotes, but be able to replay our live streams through the Party of 5 podcast. So that way if you miss one of us going live, it'll be on replay, so you guys can see it later. Okay, so invites to the Alpha 2 users have been sent out. How do you think this will impact us?
Well, first off, we have plenty of more people to kill, especially new people that aren't too versed in how to play the game, obviously. Secondly, well, having more people playing the game is probably a good thing. So yeah, that's probably the biggest impact. It's all positive mostly. There's no negatives to it really, I don't think.
I think it's going to cause a positive impact on the community. So, like, a lot of our friends could not afford the higher packs. So them being able to get in this right now is really gonna, it's gonna really bring everybody together, I feel.
I believe that there is a little bit of conflict there. Some people, I know some, not many, but some people feel like, hey, I spent that money to be, in the alpha testing, and then the people that spent less money than me now gets access to the same content that I spent that extra money to be able to be in. Now, for me personally, I'm like, hey, bring everybody. If you want everyone to have Alpha 1 access, look, bring them all. Bring the beta guys, bring everyone. Because I want everyone to enjoy this game. I want everybody to have a good time. So, like DeathsProxy said, I feel like there's more positive than negative to it. I feel like we're getting a bigger portion of our community in to help with these tests, help stress out these servers. And the fun part is to help have more people to kill. So I'm actually excited for it.
You bloodthirsty heathens. More people to kill. But yeah, so saying this more to add weight to what I'm about to say rather than bragging, but like I bought into this at the Phoenix Initiative level. So I have like a bunch of skin in the game as far as wanting to see this succeed. Now, as much as I do enjoy like the privilege of getting new information and all this and that, and I'd like to be able to enjoy more of that than anybody else, I also want to see that, okay, they've introduced this system into the game. Okay, now everybody who's Alpha 1, test it. Okay, we think we've got everything pretty much ironed out to be able to move forward. Okay, now everybody test it and break it. Like we need a bigger pool of people to see if they can still break it, or if they've gotten everything ironed out that they wanted to. So I'm 100% for, hey, you bought into the Alpha 1, you're going to get first dip at testing this for, 3-4 weeks, whatever, and then we're going to have 1 week where we get everybody in there and literally try to make everything burn to the ground. There's nothing but good that can come from that, because I find other things that such a smaller test base did not find. So I'm all for it.
For me, let's see. I'm excited because, one, there'll be a lot more people, like Virtek said, to join us in the stress testing and everything. But I'm also a little bit nervous, mainly because of when we did, and we'll get more into this in just a second, but the last time we did 100v100, there was a lot of lag. But I feel like that was kind of what they were testing for in the first place. On the other side of that, when we did 100v100, a lot of people ended up crashing out, or they had to wait a while in order to fill up to 100. So I feel like the larger pool of players we could pull from, the faster the queue times are going to be for a 100v100. That being said, alpha server issues. Over the last few weeks, there have been many playtests, some of which were successful, and many 100v100 testings, some of which were not. How did you feel about the progress of this testing ground? Zozen, why don't you start us off?
When I first started playing the testing ground, or the test server, I couldn't play it, so I kind of I've only played 5 games, but recently they've put a lot of work into it, lots of updates, and I can get a steady 100 FPS, and it's probably the funnest thing ever. Best way to test the servers.
I'm stoked. I know there's a lot of people that doubt that they can even achieve something like that. Like before they started pushing out these 100-man battle royales and stuff, people was like, no, it's not possible. They're not gonna do it. It's gonna fail. It's gonna be too choppy. It's just gonna be trash. Throw it out the window. And Intrepid Studios, round of applause to you guys. You guys are doing it. You guys are making it happen. It's becoming more and more believable to the community. The community is being able to see you guys are in that studio and you guys are going to work for this game. And I appreciate it, and I speak on behalf of the other people in the community that appreciate you guys going in and day out, and finding these little tweaks that you guys can do, all the way up to the major tweaks that you guys can do to get the game to run more and more smoothly for us, the consumer. So it's super exciting to see the progress in the development.
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on with where I'm at there. I haven't had a chance to do too much of the testing with the 100v100 or whatever. I've only gotten in on some of the smaller matches when there weren't enough people online at the time to really make a 100v100. Maybe we just sat there waiting for a while, and they just kind of said, let's go now. And so I think it ended up being about half of that. But they are doing really well with it. I mean, it's going smoother than the original couple tests where it was just a total of 50 people overall. I mean, it's going smoother than even that test. So there's a lot to be said with that alone. And as you said, Reckless, with more of this testing going well, the whole community is starting to see that it can be an actual thing. Everything that someone said, Unreal Engine 4 can't do it, can't possibly do it. Yeah, I see it.
I mean, sure, 100 people in Unreal 4 games, but Fortnite's already done that in a sense. So, I mean, they're just doing something that someone's already else done to some extent. They haven't quite perfected it either. There's still some work to be done there. The 100-man matches aren't quite up to par just yet. So, stay tuned. I mean, they're getting there. It's an improvement from what they have been done previously. So there is progress. It's just not quite there yet.
Yeah, I feel like the 100v100 I was able to be a part of, that I noticed any issues where we all queued up and there was supposed to be 100 people, and then there was like 90 something, 80 something people in the lobby before we actually got to the part where we were fighting. And then when we actually got into the game, there was even less than that. People kept getting crashed out. People weren't loading in at all and things like that. So I felt like over the few tests that I was able to be a part of, because Virtek and I are both very busy with school at the moment, so we haven't really had a whole lot of time to play test, but I've seen it getting better and better as far as less people crashing out and not as laggy. So on the topic of 100v100, did you feel that the server changes, for example, the FPS increase, etc., were felt on your end? Like, did you personally notice any differences between the test? Reckless?
Now I have to be honest. I am very excited for the progress, but I do, as much as I don't want to, I do have to slightly agree with DeathsProxy. They don't have it all the way down packed to where it's just like, hey, 10 out of 10, you guys. There is, you will run into, your frame rate dips. You will run into some latency and lag, and a lot of those things I felt like it wasn't on my system's end. For some of you who don't know, I'm running a i8700K clocked at 4.9-ish. All-in-one cooler. I got the works in there. 1080T graphics cards. I'm hooked right into my internet. Paid for the top-of-the-line internet that's provided in my area. So a lot of the latency and stuff like that I'm experiencing, I feel like is on Intrepid's end. So we are experiencing that. I'm not saying that it's a 10 out of 10, but I am saying that for Alpha 1 and being so early into Alpha 1 that they have progressed a whole lot and they're doing a great job. So, but those are the things that I've experienced in the 100v100.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a universal idea there, is that there's definitely an increase in quality, an increase in the FPS that I'm capable of pulling. I do know that they still haven't quite, rasterized everything, whatever the term would end up being, where they go from the blueprints, where everything's built for editing and moving and whatnot, and changing it to where it's more of a ready to be rendered on a user's computer easily. So there's still like the compatibility stuff for that to be ironed out. So I mean, there's still some hiccups there, but I mean, outside of that, there's room to travel still. But they've come a long way so far.
Death?
Yeah, I mean, with the server changes and the FPS increases and whatnot, it's been smooth some weeks and a bit bumpy other weeks. They'll patch some of the FPS things and it'll be pretty fine, and then next week they'll add another little patch or a hot fix and it kind of screws it up a little bit. But then again, that's alpha testing. It's expected. Well, I mean, what else is there?
I kind of agree with all you guys. Like, in the very beginning, I was with Reckless, I was getting a bunch of frame drops, but my buddy's son told me to clean out my computer, and now I don't get any lag spikes. With the FPS increase. It's really, really fun to play, and I kind of want to play it right now.
I hear you.
Yeah, I wonder when they're going to bring up the server. That being said, I didn't really, apart from the lag that I felt previously, I haven't really noticed much with the server changing. Except for that I know that they constantly are bringing it down right now to do like quick little bug fixes and then putting it back up and letting us test it. So it's kind of cool to be a part of it and watching them constantly reiterate and change things. That being said, did you experience any lag or any funny bugs or just something silly the last time you played?
Okay. I'd say my stuff falls into definitely the something silly category. So as we're swooping down into the land and trying to figure out where we're going as our little group of 4 people, the first squad that I actually formed up with, and we're all in voice chat. All right, let's go this way, let's go this way. And don't you know, I came just a little bit too close to a tree and landed right on top of it. Just right on top of a tree. What am I supposed to do? Like, if I jump, I die. I can't actually climb down. I can't selectively jump from branch to branch. No, it's either I'm up here and I stare at everybody and hopefully the eye of the storm lands right on top of me and I win because nobody can kill me, or I jump to my death. And so I had to jump to my death. Luckily, they put in the nifty little thing where you like fall down to your knees and cry out for help from your friends, and they were able to get me back up and going. But I had 10 health, so the next person who came up and like backhanded me, I fell over and died. So there is that.
Yeah. Well, pro tip from Proxy: if you get stuck in that situation again, this is something I've learned from playing, is you can actually effectively lunge at the tree itself as you're falling down, and the collision will reset your fall damage meter. So you can just, keep lunging over and over using the lunger attack and basically avoid taking fall damage at all.
That's perfect.
Nice. I can only get that lunge thing to work half the time anyway, though. That's the other bug I keep bumping into, is I try to lunge at somebody and it's just like click, 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 and it just won't happen.
No, there wasn't. There's some lag, here and there. Sometimes it was server side, I believe, and we've had quite a few crashes today. I don't know what they did with the servers when they took them down yesterday and put them back up today, but there's definitely some noticeable crashes and disconnects right now.
The one bug I actually found was yesterday. I went into a town and there was some guy just floating there, and that's when I got my first headshot with a bow.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't really experienced anything out of the ordinary. I mean, nothing new that was silly or anything like that. It's been a typical testing for me. Just like I said, the little frame rates and stuff like that. But other than that, it's been great.
Yeah, same here. Still having issues with that dang the plans that you have to like put onto the world around you, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
I've kind of given up on those.
Yeah, no, at this point I'm like, oh yeah, no, Fortress, pass. Yeah, my favorite part so far, though, with the stress test, like, okay, for those of you that are wondering, why are you guys talking about the stress test so much? Because our podcast, it covers the current stuff. So currently we are in Alpha 1 stress testing, maybe Stressor's Delight, part of the Alpha 1 Phase 1, where we're just like physically testing aspects that are going to be applied to the MMORPG later. Things that they're able to change now and perfect now, make life easier later when we're doing castle sieges. And I try to one-shot Reckless and I fail miserably because things, I don't know. Or maybe I miss him and then somehow one-shots him, which shouldn't happen, So I'm pretty excited. What is your guys' favorite part of the stress test right now? Like, what has you most excited for Ashes with the stress test?
I want to see the siege.
Oh, you and I both, brother. You and I both. That's the part I'm really waiting for right now.
Yeah, include me in that. I mean, the siege. I'm super like as far as like what's implemented right now that I'm super excited for is the fact that we're getting these squads, which is a party, right? Is you're grouping up. So that mechanic, right, of having a party can branch off to so many different things. It could like branch off to having a party to go take down a raid boss, or having a party to go into 4-man arenas, or and just the party aspect. I'm loving that. And so like that's what like has me, I'm excited. I'm like, all right, we have our parties now, like this is amazing, like they're getting it ready. And I don't know, I'm still like, a kid at Christmas, looking under the tree and just like, presents, like I'm hyped.
Can't wait to see what's under that tree, under the hood, hiding in the presents.
And that's if it arrives at Christmas.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
Castle Sieges are supposed to be here in December. Hopefully it'll be a good Christmas gift.
They say they're on track.
They do, actually. And I will get back to that in just a moment. Yeah, actually, Powers, you make a good comment there. He says a lot of arguments in the forums about the names, so I think you would help the community to have a baseline for the discussion. And basically, I've been referring it to like the BR as like Alpha 0.5 stress testing kind of thing, because it's like the baseline for everything else coming into Phase 1. So.
Yeah, but then if it's Alpha 1, if it's Alpha 0.5, then Alpha 1 never started in September, so there you have another issue.
Yeah, that's true. But just trying to like create that image though, that it's like needed in order to implement everything else, But yeah, very good point, very good point. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go into the second part of our podcast here, talking about the NDA and progression stuff. First, I want to clarify that what an alpha stress test is, or an alpha in general. So it's the first version sent to testers is called the alpha version, and it's tested to detect any major flaws of the game while they're still relatively easy to fix. Once all of the major flaws are addressed, a beta version is released, often to a larger group of testers that sometimes include the public. Given this information, how do you feel Intrepid has progressed with their alpha? Zozen?
Well, I guess what I could say is they progressed very well. I mean, like they went a long ways from where they started Alpha 1. I'm just happy it's starting to come out with a little more each week.
I mean, you guys probably already know what I'm gonna say. Like I'm again, I can't say it enough. I'm super excited. Like I'm not one of those people that have been a part of alpha testing before. This is literally like my first game that I've ever alpha tested, and so for me, the progression is substantial. It's a huge progression that I see coming from, I guess, like virgin eyes to alpha testing, so to speak. So like for me, I'm like, oh my goodness, they're like, I can see the progression, and I'm not looking at it from like a professional game developer's point of view. I'm looking at it from a consumer's point of view. And for me, it's like I as a consumer and someone without years and years of development experience, it's huge to me. It's huge to me. So I'm hyped. I love it. I'm excited, and I see it. So.
All right, can you hear me now? All right, so this is a topic where I could rant on for so long, because there's a lot of people that are going, oh my god, the game is doing so terrible, why are you releasing it to the public, oh my god. But the thing is, you gotta dust off the old tomes and look back at games that like 10, 15 years old, whatever, where the word alpha actually meant something. I mean, you jump into an alpha test and there'd be almost no animations. The character would walk around like a guy from Nintendo, like Final Fantasy, like walk, 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 chop, chop. And it would be absolutely horrendous. But they're testing a few things at a time, thus alpha. It's the first release of the game outside of the company. It's supposed to be doing horrendous. That's why you rarely hear of games actually doing an alpha, and most of them that do nowadays, they're like, hey, alpha test, and 3 months later, hey, we're launching the game, come by, pay money, buy all the things, it's good. No, that's barely a beta. I mean, that's like early access. That's not even a beta. Like they're just I don't know. This is a trigger button for me, I guess. Because
sorry.
like oh, you know you're not. No, you're not. But no, like I've actually alpha tested. Like I spent a good like 5-6 years of my life purposely doing nothing but seeking out alpha and beta tests and doing nothing but those. As soon as it went like pay to play or even free to play release, as soon as it went live, I walked away from it and went to another alpha test. So I mean, I've seen a shitload of alphas, a boatload of them. And yeah, this isn't an alpha state right now. There's no doubting that. But the thing that people are expecting when they hear alpha is actually an advanced beta and sometimes almost launch because of what people have turned it into. Because they hide the entire process from people who are trying to buy into the game because they don't want bad press and they don't want to look bad. But you know what? Get all the bad stuff out there so you can see progress. A year from now, people are going to look back at this and go, whoa, look at how much advancement there's been. It's going to be a good thing. But that's end rant. That's it.
Well, like Virtek, I have tested a lot of alpha games in the past, and and betas. Yeah, they are different from generally what the public sees, and there has been this stipulance, as he says, with arcades releasing a game under the guise of alpha when it's actually in fact a fully released game where they just localized it. But in regards to Ashes, what they've done is something quite unorthodox, because they were talking about alphas and about real alphas, and Stephen will often quote real alpha a lot. But then they've given something that is technically not really a real alpha. What they've given us is a very unusual form of alpha, I would say. What they've done is given us like a separate game mode, something that companies normally wouldn't do. They've actually created an entire game mode for the purpose of testing mechanics and combat skills, which is unusual because usually with alphas they give you a bare bones version of the game, and here where they've given us like a full-blown game mode to test skills for the main game, it's unorthodox. That's the perfect word for it.
Yeah, I can agree with that at least.
Yeah, and as far as for me, I feel like they've progressed pretty well. Again, a year ago, they had the Kickstarter, and they're showing Alpha 0, pre-Alpha 0 content. Kind of like what's on the screen right now was what they were showing us. And, I mean, that looks gorgeous, and we aren't even in the game yet. And they have this fully fleshed out world and, like, fully gorgeous graphics with all these plans for, different housing types, different architecture types, everything. And I keep saying this, and it's just because, again, like, I studied game design initially before I decided to go software engineering, and let me tell you, my alpha did not look like that alpha. And that would have been like my finished product probably. Moving on, Steven said recently that they're still on track for Castle Sieges as part of the Alpha 1 testing grounds. Does this make you feel better in regards of them keeping on schedule, since they seem to be having a lot of tests before being able to release the NDA? Reckless?
Sorry, I had to unmute my mic. Now, sieges. Like Virtek, I could go on and on when it comes to sieges. Like, I believe it's gonna help in several ways. I believe the fact that yes, they're on time, but also the fact that there's some people in the community that's just complaining about this BR mode. They're like, they're just not having fun with it, I guess. And to each his own, but it's gonna help them realize, hey, the MMO is coming. I think a lot of people are under this cloud of illusion that it's all about this battle royale. So to show that they're still on time for the siege is gonna be awesome, along with the fact that, hey, the MMO is coming. So just stay tuned. Hashtag sieges, please, and be ready. It's coming.
Winter is coming.
Ashes is coming.
Damn it.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm kind of the same ground there. Like, I did get nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I did get nervous when they started needing another week and then another week, and I don't know. I was starting to think like, well, maybe there's some core issues here we gotta really work out before it is gonna be ready. And next thing you know, they're like, yeah, okay, and we're done. Lifting it tomorrow. And by the way, yeah, next week everyone's coming in, and it suddenly was like a floodgate. It was just saving up and saving up and saving up, and we're nervous. Like, is the town going to be destroyed? No, they let it go, and it just released it all. So I guess it's good news. It's good news. Now we just got to see how it pans out as far as playability.
Right.
But yeah, with the castle sieges, if they're still on track or not. Stephen says they still are, but they have spent, and I think Stephen's also admitted this, that they have spent far longer on the BR than they expected to. As Virtek says, there was another week situation going, and then they have spent more time on the BR than they thought. But at the same time, they have a lot of developers, and not all the developers have been working on the BR. From what I understand, the BR has been worked on by a small segment of the developers, not like half the team or something, So there is the flip side of that as well.
On one hand, I want the game out like right now. But on another, I want them to create something beautiful and wonderful that I can play for years upon years. And with the Siege coming out, I just think it's going to be so wonderful. I'm not really worried. They can take all the time they need. I just want something amazing.
Yeah, and for me personally, like I will admit I was a little bit worried, but I also know that like the best people that are gonna know where they are as far as all of that stuff goes is going to be Intrepid Studios. Like, no matter how much we think we know about what they're doing, they're gonna be able to know at the end of the day if they're really on track or not, to be able to continue and be on point with their phases and the different parts of each phase. So, basically, just kind of keeping myself on, like, in faith, good faith with them, and, listening for their answer before freaking out too much. I was a little sad that they released NDA first for content creators, but it made sense. But it was also just because I was like, NDA release, NDA release, NDA release, I want to stream. And then it was like, content creators was like, but it was fine. Waited a week, it was worth it. A week passed, and I completely forgot that it had already been a week. So, now that the NDA is released on that topic, and that we can stream it, how do you think people will react to the BR? Or how have they reacted if you've already been streaming it? This is separated on purpose because, again, Virtek and I have not been able to stream it yet, but we're planning to. And I know, Death, you were able to stream it last week, right? You're an official content creator for Ashes. So,
yeah, I've been streaming it all weekend.
Right. So, Virtek, what about you? Considering from our points, it's going to be more theory crafting, and then from whoever has streamed it, they'll be able to actually tell us what they've experienced.
Well, I mean, I've seen some of the backlash on a few different articles. Like, there was one of was an MMORPG or something, and massively and whatnot. But yeah, they posted like a couple videos of some people that were streaming it live, and you get comments like, "Oh my God, another BR! I lost all hope for this game now. I'm walking away," and stuff like that. Like, overly dramatic. Like, I don't know if they're just like actually truly upset by that, and they just didn't feel like actually looking to see what it was all about, or what. But yeah, some people are just running on the first assumption because instant gratification when they read something on the internet, it must be 100% true no matter what. So they couldn't put it on there if it's a lie, right? So there are some people who are like knee-jerk reaction, going, "Oh, it's a BR, F this," and like dropping and walking away. But we'll see. I mean, there's still plenty of time for this to be in development, where it's going to get so much more press going forward that I think people heard that it's a BR, they're going to hear about it again and go, forget about it. And they're going to hear about it again and go, forget about it. And then they're going to see it being played at a convention somewhere and go, what's this? Oh, okay, well, you got my interest again.
Well, I mean, the issue there is that they marketed the game for an MMO. People wanted an MMO. People who invested want an MMO. Generally, everybody behind the project wants an MMO, and then they have this battle royale, and they see this battle royale, and they go, "Well, what's going on here?" You know, I've streamed the game, and people are very confused why they're looking at battle royale instead of an MMO. That's the first thing when they see it, right? They glance at it. These people don't follow the game heavily. They have busy lives, busy jobs, and they see, well, what's this battle royale doing in front of my face, you know? And I think that the fault doesn't lie with people. It's people. I've noticed the community has been very much putting the blame on the people. I think it's Intrepid's fault. Personally, I think they should have gone with a more associated game mode towards an MMO. If they went with that 5v5 arena that they originally announced, that 3v3 arena they originally announced, this confusion would have never been a problem in the first place. That's my personal feeling on the matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to admit, as soon as like they launched the BRs were like top of the line for game choices. You had Fortnite recently coming out, PUBG, and if people don't like the BR, they should see what Alpha 0 looked like to Alpha 1. And I just love the progress they made.
Yeah, for me, I think like I view it as like my job as a streamer to make sure to try to clear up some of that confusion. And I do agree with Death. Like, honestly, I've been saying this for a little while too. My thoughts when they said Battleground, I thought it was going to be the arenas that they had at PAX. That's what I was hoping it was going to be, and I was super hyped to be able to play it. Am I upset that it's a BR? Yeah, a little bit, but you know what? I'm also very grateful that I can still stress test it. I'm grateful that I can be a part of it and be able to try to help Intrepid be able to fix any issues that are needed for the MMO, because at the end of the day, I'm not even here for an arena, I'm here for an MMO. But I feel like Steven has been trying to put a lot of thought into what they're going to be doing as far as like trying to clean up the whole confusion thing. So I know that he's having a live stream on the 24th, which is next Wednesday. Or this Wednesday, sorry, next one. Either way, the Wednesday coming up, it's on the 24th, and I'm gonna definitely be putting my ears in there and seeing what he has to say and be able to bring you back some information and explain things a little bit. Considering what we saw last weekend, did they fix anything you thought needed fixing, or is there still something that you think they should fix for the next BR build? Death, why don't you go ahead and start us off on that one?
Something they should fix the next. You know, as I said, I don't think they should be spending overly huge amounts of time balancing and fixing the BR if it's going to be a throwaway a game. You know, like why spend hours and hours, developing something unless the end goal is for them to release the BR as a separate game. You know, if that's in their plans to make an extra revenue source or just for the PR marketing aspect, then maybe. But I don't think they should be spending overly amounts of time developing a BR module that may not even be used, really. In terms of the actual game itself, I mean, just adding more skills to test for the actual classes they're going to implement for the sieges would be #1 priority.
I said it like in chat earlier. Like, if they could add something, I really would like the light wand to have a charge ability. Like, you left click for the little balls and then hold it down to charge it up, like one big shot coming out. That'd be really cool.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
I mean, for me personally, I think since it's not really a balancing aspect as far as like balancing for a BR, I think to like throw some class mechanics in there would be nice. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get metas and stuff, but we'll be able to test. I was talking to someone in the community, and they were saying they would like to see rotations of classes.
Uh-oh, he froze.
Oh.
Bro.
Yeah, we lost you for a second. I heard rotation of classes, and then it was like frozen.
Oh no.
No. But all I'm saying is just add some things into there as far as like class mechanics. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, the one thing I can at least say with putting so much time into the BR is that the good thing is, the way I see it, literally everything that they're doing can be recycled into the actual game, even down to the storm. Yes, I said it, even the storm. Because Steven's already said before, like, hey, yeah, we're going to have, like, magical storm things that are going to just appear and things are going to change. Like, the weather's going to change into, like, drastic hazardous situations and blah, blah, blah. So, literally, even the storm can be reused in the live game. Everything like the flying mount, I mean, there's going to be flying mounts. There's going to be gliding mounts, which are what those really do. They don't really fly so much as glide. So we're testing that. We're testing class abilities actually by some of the skills that are being put on those items that we're picking up. It's just maybe those are some of the core ones that they really needed to test because maybe they're going to become the basis of other skills down the line. And so as long as they can get this part running, they can staple on some other stuff to create other skills down the road. So I mean, they're just doing the class skills, but it's hop swap class skills. I want to do this right now, and then I want to do that one, and then that one, and then I want a meteor, and the shotgun blast wand that you're talking about with charging up. I think it's a terrible idea because I hate that wand. It kills me all the time.
And I'm gonna go ahead and change into open chat with my answer, so anybody feel free to respond. But basically, I think what they're changing right now is increasing server constantly, because when you get a constant 100 people trying to queue up for both sides, or I guess I don't know how the 100v100 thing is completely working. I think there's just the 100 total squads thing, but I think this is just the stepping stone for Castle Sieges, which I think is the one that I got a little bit confused just now. I think that one's the 100v100. So we're going from small testing of like 25 people, 30 people, to 60 people, to now 100 people. And now, like, when we get into Castle Sieges, that's going to be 200 people. So I think they're doing a pretty good job. I honestly don't really see much that they should be changing as far as like any bugs that I've noticed. A lot of what they've been doing with the testing and taking it down and putting it back up has to do with like back-end server things. And I feel like that's an important thing that they need to clean out and fix up, and I think that they're already starting to. With the opening of the open chat, I'm going to remind my viewers, guys, in a second, once we're done with the open chat, I'm going to do an outro, and then I'm going to end the podcast, but that's just ending the podcast. Please stick around, because right after that, we're going to be doing the Q&A portion, which is very specific to those of you who are currently in the Twitch chat with us. We've been collecting your questions. I've got a whole line of questions lined up. If you have any more, feel free to keep them coming. But yeah, if anybody wants to chime in on the last conversation, or anything you want to chime in on with what we've talked about today, you can go ahead.
With it being an open mic, I can say anything, right?
As long as it's referring to what we've talked about today, yeah.
Oh, all right. I was just gonna say, like, I really want to know what they're gonna do for gathering and actual crafting. That's one of all the information that I want to come out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not the only one, man. A lot of people are looking for, I think what it is a lot of people are looking for anything related, or that they can refer, like when they think about it, oh, that's MMO aspect. Oh, that's an MMO feature. So when it comes to like crafting and gathering and questing and classes, healing abilities, like those are things that you can think and refer to MMO with. So a lot of people are in the same boat, myself included.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and cut to the outro, because we're running a bit late at 49 minutes currently. So I'll go ahead and let Zozen do your outro. Who are you? Where can we find you? Any last thoughts?
All right, I'm Zozen. You can find me over at Nexus, or you can just add me on Discord. I'll send a link in the chat. The last thoughts are, I had fun. And thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I'll go next. I'm Reckless. You can find me at the number 2 Reckless, RECKLESS, on Twitch. Feel free to send me a follow there and join my gaming community. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram at reckless_PvP. I will be uploading and letting you guys know when I'm going live. So see you there.
Did you just out loud say that you're number 2? Because this is terrible, sir.
Wait. I knew that was coming. Yeah, Reckless was took. And I actually, funny story, I tried to buy the name from the guy. And he's just like, no, I want it.
Well, I'm Virtek, otherwise known as DJ Virtek. Depending on where you go, you're going to find me by one of those two, either Virtek or DJ Virtek. DJ Virtek here on Twitch and over on the Twitter and on the Facey Space and on Mixcloud, it's just Virtek. Yeah, see you around. Come say hi. Don't be a stranger.
I'm DeathsProxy. You can find me at YouTube/DeathsProxy or Twitter, DeathsProxy, Facebook's DeathsProxy, and Twitch, DeathsProxy UK currently.
And I'm Chibi Bree, and you can find me here on Twitch and my YouTube channel, which I'm working on. If any of you who are new to Ashes of Creation want to find out more, I'm working on an intro, whole intro thing. So what is Ashes, what are class kits, what are classes, etc. So come find me there. I'm also on Twitter at ChibiBree with 2 E's for the Chibi. You'll find me around. All right. I'd also like to say a very special thank you to all of you who are supporting us. Thank you for the follows, because the more follows we get, the closer we get to an affiliate, and I can be able to rerun any of our podcast or our live streams, because now we're going to start doing live streams for you guys now the NDA is gone. And thank you to Makinoji for letting us use your awesome sound for a nice tavern background music. Well, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!